Good evening, everyone. It's July 20th, 2024. Today I'm going to be talking about our youth again. There's a lot of things coming up. People are still worried about our youth. I know I am. And I'm going to be, these are coming up in the comments that I'm going to bring forward to you as well today that I want to read and expand on. And the reason is that these kind of comments is because just recently now our city is experimenting with having alcohol in some of the parks so that people can go and drink alcohol. And of course everyone is split on that situation. I know I don't really want to see it in that extent, as well as the other big thing is it's now more and more of the alcohol is being through the province is now going to be sold through the corner stores, and people are for it, people are against it. But I see things that are wrong here, because you have children that are just going to constantly seeing adults drinking. Well, that's normal, I can go and drink. Or they'll go, and I know I've seen people even just having their own patios in their backyard, and when they have their back turned, I've seen a child turn around and sneak that drink out of mom or dad's beer, for an example. So it's not, to me, a really good way of doing it. And of course the Indigenous way is no drugs or alcohol allowed at powwows and that, which I prefer it to be a family thing, and I think that's where the park should be a family thing. If they're putting alcohol and stuff near the parks and the children's playgrounds, that's not a good thing. And then you gotta get the homeless going in more, drinking and doing drugs too in the park. So I think this might be, to me, in my opinion, is a bad kind of trend that's happening. But there's a lot of talk about what's going on right now. So I also want to just bring up the comments here and my answers to the comments on the situation that's going on at the present time in our communities. Okay. And this particular viewer said, the youth prefer panhandling instead of getting a job. They apply for OW. To add income, we need leaders with common sense, law enforcement, and more discipline. Now teenagers go to Loblaws for wine and get free points on Optimum card. Stop. Night night. That was just a quick comment from her. And of course, as we're seeing in the beer stores as well as in Loblaws and all the corner stores, they're just coming in and just grabbing things off the shelf, literally. So I don't think this is a good idea to be putting all this liquor and stuff and beer in the corner stores right now. So it's just more tempting for the youth to get at this particular problem. So my reply to her comment, though, was, when and where is this going to stop? That is a good question. We could have a good long debate on this, but I believe our leaders are losing common sense. They only believe in what benefits a few and not the rest of the herd. The herd just gets dragged along and is expected to accept it. No wonder people are screaming for change. But what change? Leaders always promise one thing to the herd to get into power, and then self-serves a few. Then the herd has to put up for whatever their term is for till the next election, so that the herd is always in limbo. Again, this is only my opinion, and so this is how I answered her back on that. And this is what I see. We're constantly also having a struggle with our own lawmakers as well, and what's really in the best interest of the children. And I don't believe that having alcohol allowed in parks, even though some people are doing it, I think that should be stepped up and brought under control somewhat, that no open beer or alcohol, as I was growing up, was allowed in parks. And it was people actually came in and they enforced it. So, I mean, this, I think, feels like it needs to be done. We're really in a situation where we've got addiction crises at the moment, and we're only helping to enable the drugs and the alcohol. People who are on the drugs or want the drugs, and then there's other people who are trying to get off the drugs. So why should they be in a park or somewhere where they're trying to refuse drugs or alcohol, or I've been 6 months sober, or I've been a year sober? Why should they have to try and put up with people who are drinking beside them? That's not fair to them when they're trying to get off the alcohol for personal reasons where they can't control themselves or whatever. I feel that that's not fair to them in particular. Now, I'm going to go on to our next comment here. And this is again, no to alcohol and drugs in parks. Enough is enough. It's poisoning our lives, their brains. God bless. This again, we're talking about the children. And then this is my response. Is it not enough that our children have to see what homeless is with drugs and alcohol, walking over needles and crack pipes, the garbage they leave behind? They see people dying on the streets of overdoses. This is only going to get more people addicted to alcohol. Also, it gives everyone, including the children, that it is acceptable behavior, even though alcohol is legal. Is this going to increase drinking and driving? The government is only going to cash in on more money on the sales of alcohol, and on the other end, more money in fines from drunk driving. Just one big cash grab, just again, in my opinion. So that was what I wanted to bring forward there. And on the drinking and driving, it's interesting because we're all complaining about the red light photos and the speeding photos where they take a picture of your car and they catch you speeding with a speedometer thing up. But the interesting thing about that is our biggest street that's catching all these speeders right now since March has been, I think it was something like, was March to June was 11,700 people were caught for speeding on King Edward, which is the worst street here in Ottawa, which is where I'm near. And I have my problems about that. That's great, we're catching speeders. But then on the other hand, this is one way of what I'm explaining about a cash cow. But then because we're downtown, in Lower Town, we've got all the traffic going in. At night, we have the nightclubs, people are drinking in that. And I'm thinking, great, these cameras are catching the speeders, but where's the other part of the enforcement? And how many of these speeders are actually coming from the bars and everything down here that are actually over the limit for their alcohol or onto drugs as well? Because the dealers and everything are down here, so it's easier to get your drugs. And so this has me concerned. I mean, if they have the cameras, then they should also have the police doing blitzes here on King Edward at the same time at the other end, catching these speeders and checking them for alcohol levels as well. So it's a sort of a tit for tat here. You're getting them on one end, but not getting them on the other, which, how can you have drinking and driving as in one case, they do stop them for drinking and driving, the police, and it's totally unacceptable. But then I hear them at night with the mufflers going, they think they got the big sports cars and vroom, vroom, and you just hear them taking off, and then you're just waiting to hear the squeal of tires of them having to suddenly stop. Excuse me. I know I've talked about a bit of this before, but I think we have a problem here that we're not balancing out with things with one another. And we're just going way too fast with this right now, with the drug and alcohol crisis that we have on. And I think things should have been slowed down, not speeded up by the government. And of course, as soon as the liquor board went on strike, it was supposed to be rolled out next week for more of the alcohol sales, beer sales and that in the stores. And of course, the premier just upped it and said, well, we're going to do it 2 weeks early, even before it was supposed to be for the 1st of August. So we're going too fast, and that's what I was just kind of trying to bring everyone together on and realize we have a problem. So I just wanted to bring people up on some more opinions, in my opinion, and so that's where I'm going to leave it today. And I always love hearing your comments. Please comment when you can, and thank you, and take care, and have a nice day, and definitely watch your surroundings, and be safe for the summer. Okay? Bye-bye. We'll talk again soon.